Good afternoon everyone, and welcome to another video. Are we maybe spending too much time thinking and trying to explain the world instead of simply just living in it? That's what I'm going to be discussing today. I'm going to read you a quote from one of my favorite books of all time, namely Candide by Voltaire. This book is really amazing. It was the first book I ever read that actually made me realize that reading books can bring a huge benefit. That reading books doesn't just mean reading about stories with different plots and heroes and whatnot, but there can be other things in a book that makes you think, that makes you realize things. And so this book is very dear to me and made me realize a lot when it comes to reading. So the quote that I'm going to read you guys and that we're going to be discussing is as follows. Master, we have come to beg you to tell us why so curious a creature as man was ever created. And what has it to do with you, answered the dervish. Is it any business of yours? But surely, Reverend Father, said Candide, there is a dreadful amount of evil in the world. And what does it matter, said the dervish, if there is evil or if there is good? When His Highness the Sultan sends a ship to Egypt, does he worry whether the mice on board are comfortable or not? So what must we do, said Pangloss. Keep your mouth shut, said the dervish. I flattered myself, said Pangloss, that you and I might have a discussion about the effects and causes, about the best of possible worlds, the origin of evil, the nature of the soul, pre-established harmony, and then he gets cut off, at which the dervish slammed the door in their faces. So this quote, it touches on a lot of things. I would like to say or think that it touches on some topics like evil, meaning, the kind of cosmic indifference that happens in the world, and the futility and the overthinking when it comes to suffering. Because the quote, if you're not familiar with the book, there's basically a bunch of characters that a bunch of misfortunes happen to them. They travel around the world, meeting misfortune upon a misfortune, and still cannot make sense of the fact that the world is supposed to be the best of all worlds, that God has a plan for everyone, etc. But yet, when they look around, there's all this misery. So they cannot really make sense of why there is such evil in the world. What is the purpose? And what is the purpose of all this suffering? And so this book is also very satirical. This is all conveyed brilliantly by kind of exaggerating things and making the characters extra naive, like that the message has a more profound effect on you as a reader. And it mocks the idea that there is the best of all possible worlds. But what I liked about this quote is that these characters that have been torturing themselves with finding out why there is this evil in the world, why things happen the way they do, they eventually meet this dervish. And I had to actually look up what a dervish is. A dervish is a specific Muslim religious order. I believe it's a Muslim-specific religious order that has kind of taken vows of poverty and austerity. So this is supposed to be some wise guy, or they are told that this is a wise guy. And so after torturing themselves for a long time through all kinds of misfortunes about what is the reason behind all this, why are these things happening, eventually they meet this super wise man that just slams the door in their faces and tells them to shut up about it, basically to stop complaining. And he kind of mocks their attempt to even try and figure out why there is evil in the world and why these things are happening. And there is a mention of the ship and the mice when he says, when His Highness the Sultan sends a ship to Egypt, does he worry whether the mice on board are comfortable or not? Well, in this in this kind of scenario, we would be the mice, and the ship and everything else would kind of be the cosmos. Like, we are very small in a very big world, in a very big universe, and things happen, and they're not tailored to us. Who cares about the mice on the ship? The ship is going to be powering ahead, as does life, and there's no point in thinking that we are anything special. And I think it kind of highlights a very common characteristic of overthinking. People tend to get stuck in loops of overthinking, especially around moral and existential issues. And this dervish basically smashes this endless loop of thinking, telling us to stop expecting the world to explain itself. This is a meaningless endeavor to kind of look for an explanation in the world. And I think it's also relevant today because in our digital age, we are always kind of feeling the pressure to have a take on things. You need to have a take on every tragedy. You need to have a take on every injustice that occurs. And we do this in order to show that we care. And obviously it's not wrong to care about injustices. That's not at all the point. But it's at one point, talking and thinking about the injustices doesn't serve a purpose anymore. Especially when it replaces the doing of something. We can use our outrage as virtue signaling without having to put a lot of effort in. If we truly cared, we would have to put some effort into these injustices and these things, which a lot of people do. And raising awareness is important in all of these things. But overthinking and finding explanations for all the evils in the world can also be a waste of time. Taking a stance on everything, trying to pick a side, all of these things can be a waste of time. The same way that the dervish slammed the door in their faces, to make this extra clear. And this point of at one point just shut up and do something about it, I think is pretty helpful to realize. We love theorizing and we love bringing awareness, like I said, but this virtue signaling can also go a bit out of control. And I think we live in an age with such an abundance of information. We have enough information to get upset about a lot of things, to wonder why this happened, why did it have to happen, no one deserved this to happen. All of these things that there's not going to be a good answer to it. And at one point we need to just stop focusing on theorizing and we need to do things. And so we're drowning in a world kind of full of information, but it's lacking quite a lot of wisdom. You have access to the troubles of every other person on the planet, but it seems like the wisdom and the solution and the action taking is not really corresponding to the level of information that we have at the moment. And he also, I think the dervish, he's also kind of implying that talking about meaning doesn't necessarily create meaning. Living life is what creates the meaning. Theorizing about the meaning of life is not very useful. It's the wrong question to ask. Instead, what we really should be focusing on is what life asks of us. So you need to take on your responsibilities and act and stop overanalyzing. So I think this was a pretty nice quote, especially maybe it's not coming across that strongly now when I'm talking about these things, but after reading the book where they are torturing themselves with why things are the way they are, they finally meet a guy that is just like, what are you whining about? This is not in you have nothing to do with this. This is none of your concern. Just do things. Don't theorize and expect the world to explain itself always. Just do things. And then on the same page, page was quite useful. They meet another person, a Turk, and he has 20 acres. And Candide wonders how he can be happy with these 20 acres. And he says the following: I cultivate them with my children. Our work keeps at bay the three great evils: boredom, vice, and necessity. And once again, this kind of focuses on work. Keeping yourself busy, they keep at bay these great evils: boredom, vice, and necessity. And so we need to stop sitting around. We need to do what is asked of us, what life asks of us, not necessarily what your boss asks of you. But instead of theorizing of the meaning of life, they keep busy and they live a good life like that. They provide for themselves, they enjoy their work, take pride in their work. And after all, man was not born for rest. This is another thing that is mentioned on the following page. If I can find it here. For example, it says, man was not born for rest. Let us set to work and stop proving things, for that is only the only way to make life bearable. That, I think, is quite a lot of wisdom that I think we should take away from this book. We were not meant to sit around, prove things, and theorize. We were not meant for rest. There is a German saying as well: "Wer rastet, rostet." The person that rests starts to rust. And I think this is pretty accurate as well. So if you have any thoughts about this, you could always let me know in the comments. I think it was important to take away that we need to not overanalyze and stop trying to explain the world and instead just live in it. Thank you for your attention, and I'll see you next time. Bye.